Hello and welcome to HT Movie Talk. I am your host, Deans, with all the beans. I've got so many beans, you can't even stop me. And once again, I'm with a man who I believe to have zero beans. He is beanless. He is a great person, regardless, though. He his first name is Harlan and his second name is Duffy. But you guys may know him better than the guy with no beans, Fluffy Duffy. Hello.
What happened to all my beans?
I don't know. I feel if this was like the first podcast episode someone's listened to, they've already clicked off. They're not dealing.
I thought I at least had a couple. I mean, if anything, like my state is like the bean state.
Why? Oh,
Because we have the bean.
what kind of bean? Oh, the bean.
The bean.
The big bean in Chicago.
Yeah.
One day I dream of touching that bean and being near it, but alas, fate has other plans for me. Welcome back to our lovely podcast. This is episode 98. We were just discussing
98, two away.
Which is a big deal. If you ask, if it was up to me, I would say it's a big deal. If it's up to
sure,
me,
it's a big deal.
yeah, 98 is a great number. But do you know what's an even better number? Whatever we're talking about today. And what are we talking about today, Harlan?
Okay, today we are doing. Well, if you saw the thumbnail or paid any sort of attention, you know that we are doing a sequelify to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Mm-hmm. What's a sequelify?
A sequelify is when we take a movie and then we make a sequel to it.
Yes.
So, and
that's the end of the sentence.
Yep. But I do think it's important to note that although we are making this podcast and we are going to be talking and thinking about it, I don't think this movie should exist for at least like another 10 years.
We'll get to that. 10 years is excessive when you're making the MCU.
That's true.
But alas, this is episode 8 of Sequelify. What are the other 7, Harlan? Go.
Truman Show.
Yeah.
Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Can you only do 2?
There's also does the Sonyverse count?
No. Because we can't like prematurely add that, that was after the birth of Sequelify.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Can you only name 2?
I think I could only name 2 right now.
3 weeks
because I really like those 2.
What did we do 3 weeks ago?
Dude, I couldn't tell you.
Did you not?
I could not tell you.
Mario.
Mario.
We've done one other MCU one.
We've done one other MCU one.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a solo franchise or like a team up franchise?
It's a team up film.
Avengers?
No.
What other team up film is there?
It's not one that's been announced. It's one that we planned. After a TV show, we were like, they should do this.
I don't know.
World War Hulk.
Oh yeah. We did do that.
This is how memorable our podcast is. We filmed one together.
Which one did we do together?
We did only 2 podcasts the second time you came here.
This is true.
What films?
We did a Q&A.
What films did you watch? Did we watch?
We watched La La Land.
We didn't see
Hot Rod.
Didn't sequel.
A Hot Fuzz.
We did the Cornetto trilogy.
The Cornetto trilogy. Yeah.
And Knives Out's the other one. I think that's all of them.
Knives Out. I like that.
I've got the list in front of me, to be honest. Oh, we also did Joker, Folie à Deux.
Well, yeah.
And that's it. Anyway, that is enough reminiscing on the past, because this series isn't about the past. This series is about the future.
Indeed.
Spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I'm going to get that out now.
We both liked Guardian, right? What did you give it out of 10?
Yeah.
I give it a 9 out of 10. You gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, which is
that's a 9 out of 10.
I haven't rewatched it. I really need to.
I rewatched it. I'm going to tell you this. I rewatched it and I cried significantly harder.
Did you?
Like on the first watch, I maybe like a tear rolled down my cheek once or twice. but like a tear was constantly running down my cheek in
It,
my
it
rewatch.
just was doing loops
Yeah,
around
it
your
was just,
face. Just this one tear was.
but it was because I wasn't afraid of any of the characters dying. You know,
Mm,
like I was like almost like trying to be ready for that. It never happens. Like this time I was able to like soak everything in a lot more.
yeah, fair enough. I get that. No, I've had a very busy week, um, but I will go.
All these excuses.
Yeah. Well, did you see my two-parter on the film top challenge?
Oh, was it a two-parter?
I did 2 weeks in one.
Did you does that count as like my last one too? Is Harlan's movie in there?
No,
Or
I did
no?
that. I've done that already. I watched.
Oh, okay. What
I insulted.
you watched Nightcrawler, right?
Yes, that's right. And I insulted you in the video quite a bit
I think I watched that,
because you
but I
haven't.
watched it when it came out, so it was like super late or something like that. I don't know, but I was too tired to
We're
respond.
here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy, whatever. We're not gonna
Yes, we're
normally at this point we give our thoughts on the original piece and that sort of thing. We're not really gonna do that today because that was
we just did
last
that.
week and it was a long episode.
Right.
I didn't realize how long we were talking for last week just because I was enjoying talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3 so much.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that opportunity for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think the first thing that we need to address for our Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4, does it still involve Star-Lord, Gamora, Nebula,
So
Drax, or is
I
it just
I,
a new Guardians?
I have a bigger question.
Okay.
What are we planning the next Guardians Galaxy film, or are we going to name a couple of projects where we want to see certain Guardians Galaxy characters again, or are we just focusing on Guardians Galaxy 4?
Well, I've made my own little idea for a Rocket Raccoon and Groot spinoff.
Mm-hmm.
But like so besides Rocket and Groot, like if we were to name off all the potential spin-off movies we could do from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think it'd be a Rocket and Groot movie,
Yeah,
a Nebula and Drax like a Nowhere movie,
sure.
a new Guardians movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's something you can still do. A Star-Lord spin-off
Yeah, Adam
and
Warlock.
an Adam Warlock spin-off.
Yeah, Ravagers.
Oh, yeah, and you could do the Ravagers too, but I wouldn't want that.
Um. Okay. Okay. How are we doing this? Let me think.
But I do think just like doing a Guardians 4 movie would be the easiest to do potentially.
Yeah, but I'm losing my words. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. I'm just gathering my thoughts because I had a thought and now it's gone from my brain. Yes.
One thing I see potentially being an issue is the antagonist of the movie. If we do like a Guardians 4, right? Like how do we like I don't know who it would be because I don't think it would work if it was like well, I think a Guardians villain almost always needs to be galaxy threatening
High
because they
evolution.
are the Guardians of the Galaxy. What'd you say?
High evolutionary wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't, but like he was destroying worlds.
Yeah, I think you'd go Nihilus.
Who's that?
He's the big. He was the villain. He was originally designed to be the villain. He was originally going to be the villain of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and he was originally going to be the guy that made Rocket. He's like a guy from a different dimension who just comes and takes over places,
Mm.
and invades places. Google him because he's got a cool looking face.
They have a cool look. How do you spell it?
Anihlus. I think you might recognize him.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. He's from the Negative Zone, which is like Fantastic Four stuff. but he was originally going to be the villain in this film.
He looks kind of like a scroll.
Yeah,
Okay, so I'd be good with doing him.
yeah, for Guardians of the Galaxy 4.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think should we go through characters and say what we think the next place for them is if there is one? Just so we kind of before we map out anything. Yeah. 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 I still can't hear you.
Sorry, I was blowing my nose.
That's fine. So first up, Star-Lord. We know we're going to see him again. Do you think it should be in a Guardians team?
No.
Did you see my theory on when we're going to see him again?
No.
I think he's going to be a variant. I think he's going to show up because I was thinking about it. I think the best way for him to show up in Avengers Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, because I assume that's where he's going to show up next, would be as a variant. Because I think it would be a bit weird if he was like, "Oh, I'm here. I just hang out with my granddad for a few months, but I'm now here to fight Kang." I think it'd be cool to see a version of him from a different dimension that doesn't have, that didn't have such a good send off.
Yeah, I agree to the likelihood of us seeing a variant Star-Lord, but just the fact, like, I think the fact that, like, the end credit scenes is, like, the legendary Star-Lord will return kind of gives it the implication that, like, we're going to see this version again.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I think someone else said this online. It was something about how they think it might be a different version of him because pretty much every Marvel film ends with this character will return. And every single time, without fail, it is white text on a black background. And for Star-Lord, it's black on white. And people were like, oh, maybe that means he's a variant. And I know that is stretching it a bit, but I think it is an interesting choice to change that.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
or maybe he just did that because it looks cool.
Exactly. And also it says the legendary Star-Lord rather than, whatever.
Yeah, but like
I don't know. I'm happy if we never see this version of Star-Lord again. I think this is a good ending for him. And I think
me too.
If he comes back, it should be something Earth-based.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I would love a Disney Plus, a special presentation about Star-Lord stopping, like, some weird alien creature that's attacking people in this small town in Missouri.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. And him having to use earthly materials to figure out.
Should we write that down as just part of our pitch?
Maybe. I don't know, because, like, I feel like similar to how I was worried about Gamora coming back into the front. Like, I feel like it'd be, like, a little bit cheap for him in Guardians 3 to say I'm leaving and then him to be in Guardians 4.
Well,
you know what I mean?
That's why I'm writing down the pitch of just as part of our larger idea.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Doing a little Earth adventure.
Sure.
Okay. Let's as you mentioned her, let's talk about the big G, or as I like to call her, Gamora.
Gamora.
But yeah, Gamora.
I think out of all the characters, Gamora is the one I'd be most content never seeing again.
I think she's second least likely to reappear because Zoe Saldana has said she's done.
Yeah, and like I feel like this might be a hot take for you. I don't think Drax's arc was fully complete. So like he you got you're not a destroyer, you're a dad, but like he never really got like a lot of time to like sit down and like reconnect with the kid. You know, like I feel like
no, but I think
more.
The implication of it is like that it is done because all this stuff is happening off screen, and I think that is satisfying enough.
Right. I think it's satisfying enough for me, and like it was like fun. Like I'm happy with the way Drax's character ended, but I feel like there could be more to flesh out that character. I don't think the same about Gamora. I think
I'm just saying I wouldn't. I think there's a lot more to flesh out with Gamora, but also I wouldn't add Drax to anything just because I trust that when Dave Bautista said that he's done, you're done.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think Gamora had a really fitting ending, and like I feel like if she came back like, in Guardians, like she's like a part of the Ravagers, and that's all they view her as. Like it's not like a Gamora, please come back. It's just that's what she is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, that she would have a smaller part as part of the Ravagers or something, you know.
Um, but I think I'm not opposed to having Gamora come back, but it can't be like we have to go get Gamora to solve this. It needs to be the Ravagers show up and Gamora's there
Yeah.
because she's part of the Ravagers.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's talk about Drax, as you just mentioned him. I don't want to see him again in a yeah. I don't think we will, so
I don't want to see him, but also like if we're on nowhere, if we have a scene nowhere,
I think
depending on the scale of it, he needs to be there.
I think we just need to like, I wouldn't include him just because I really like, I feel like very strongly that it won't happen. So like, we've got to stay within the realms of.
I agree, but like let's just not have anything. Isn't like unless it's we need to grab something from Nebula, we shouldn't have it take place in nowhere. A scene take place in nowhere.
I
Right?
mean, a scene should always take place somewhere.
Anyways, should we move on? Nebula.
Nebula, I think Nebula could work, because I think Nebula, you can make the argument, oh, she's left nowhere to go and do this, or
Yeah,
yeah.
and also Nebula and Rocket have a really close relationship. So I feel like I don't it I know they're really close and they'll probably like go to each other for advice or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. What about Mantis?
No.
Really?
I
Just,
mean like
can I tell you the idea I had?
sure, tell me.
What if, just as part of this film, they they need something from this planet, or they need to like figure something out, and they go to this planet, and she's like somewhat like a queen there, or like she's like changed the planet and helped out so many people, and she's just chilling there. She's like, oh, hi guys, I can help you out. And like, you get to see the impact she's had on the galaxy in a small part in the film.
Um maybe. But it has to be like why are they going to that planet?
Yeah, but like, it can just be like a reveal, like, oh yeah, whatever.
Okay, I think we should put Nebula on the maybe list that
Mhm.
she's appears in the movie.
Yeah. Kraglin.
What's he's still on nowhere, right?
No, Kraglin's in the New Guardians.
Oh yeah. He should definitely appear in this movie.
If we're using that Guardians team.
Well, I feel like we should. Do you not think we should use a Guardians team that
We'll see. I haven't decided. I haven't thought about it.
I think we should use the entire Guardians team.
I don't think we should use that team as it is,
Well, I think well, how do you mean?
because I don't think it's a very interesting team. And we talked about this last week, that we agreed that we'd rather see all of them do individual things than them do something together. So I think if you use,
I feel like if this movie takes 10 years, if like for example, this movie takes place in the future
Mhm.
and the little girl is grown up to like a teenage level where she is actually like viewed as like a legitimate superhero, I think
That's not
that
just
could
my
make
issue with it, though. I don't know. I think the dynamics between the characters don't really interest me that much. Just because none of them really, I can see, like, would drive massive conflict out of each other from what we know about them. Like, Rocket's pretty chill with people now. Groot's always been chill. Kraglin's not going to start any issues. Adam Warlock might, but he's also maturing. That's the other. If the bigger the jump, the less interesting Adam Warlock is.
that's true. So who do you reckon we should take out? And
Well, I think keep talking about. We haven't finished our list yet, so we'll keep going through this, and then we can talk about who can be added. And
okay, so
Adam Warlock, I think yes.
yes, I want to see more Adam Warlock.
Yeah. Would you want to see something solo of his before, if we're doing this in like 5 years? Would you want to see something solo of his first?
I don't know.
I'll write down maybe something solo, and then we can think about it.
Yeah.
Rocket and Groot, I'll include them as one.
They should definitely be in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the little headcanon I have for like the script I made, which I think is a video that's gonna be coming out today.
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, if you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah, the day it came out.
So Rocket's looking at a picture of the original Groot. King Groot busts in through the door with Adam Warlock and like a headlock because they're fighting. And then Groot sees the picture of his quote unquote dad, and then his eyes glow like a yellow, and then he rushes off, and like he goes to like a civilization of Groots, and then Rocket goes to save Groot, and during that we see a backstory of Groot and Rocket where
sorry
what?
to break it to you. In Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I'm pretty sure it says that Groot is the last of his kind.
In my in my story at the end of it, Rocket goes, "I thought you're the last of your kind," and Groot responds with, "I am Groot," and that's the only explanation we get. And but the backstory is that on the planet Groot was on before like his planet was destroyed, Rocket went in there and he found Groot in like a cage, overgrown and like abandoned, which was an interesting theory I heard of why Groot is so small in the first one. Like he isn't a King Groot.
Yeah.
Was because like when you don't give plants love, they don't grow as big. So like Groot was like an unloved creature before Rocket found him.
The
Which I
more
thought
I
was kind of
think
sweet.
about like Groot, I don't think he was super old because he was a bit dopey.
He was a bit dopey.
I don't know.
It's an interesting theory.
Also, how old is Rocket?
That's what I was thinking about too.
Swole Groot, who looks, I mean, we later he looks not too dissimilar from the original Groot, like size wise. He's 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
So I don't think adult Groot can be like Groot 1 can be much older than 10, maybe.
Right. But also it means like how long does Rocket have a lifespan of a normal human?
I don't know. He's cyborgish, so I think he's fine.
That's true.
I think you could say whatever.
I think Rocket's probably around like 15.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Because, well, actually, no, I take that back. He's probably around 20. Because
I reckon he's about 5 when he leaves the High Evolutionary.
he's around 5 when he leaves the High Evolutionary. I agree. And then let's put him 10 when he meets the Guardians.
That's true because he does survive the snap. So that is, yeah.
Yeah, that's like the snap. That's another like
5 years.
So I think he's around 20.
Yeah.
Which is super old for a raccoon.
He's not a raccoon.
He's Rocket. Rocket Raccoon.
I still don't think I like that line, but yes.
It gives me enough nerd satisfaction to
they live for about 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Well, that's also so do like outdoor cats. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like I don't know how long.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, have we talked about everyone? Phyla-Vell, sure, whatever.
Yeah, and Cosmo.
Oh yeah, and Blurp.
And Blurp. I think Blurp should die in this movie.
No. I think Blurp is one of. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I think a Guardian should die.
Do you know number 3 is the only movie where a Guardian doesn't die?
Yeah.
Including the Avengers films, technically.
No. No
Guardian
dies in Endgame.
Nebula does.
Oh yeah. All right.
All right. Anyway,
So now I think so. We have our villain.
so do we do so? Okay. Do we want an Adam Warlock project before?
Where is the Sovereign during Guardians 3? Is their planet dead?
No, the High Evolutionary said he'd destroy their planet if they fail. So they're still about because
There's
because the High Evolutionary died.
so I think and okay, let's do an Adam Warlock movie
Movie.
that the project where the antagonist is the Sovereign.
I'd
I
say
think.
movie, to be honest. I wouldn't give him a show.
Sure.
Think about how expensive that would be. Sovereign is the villain. But his mommy died. Oh, mommy.
And I think like the idea should be the Sovereign tell Adam. Well, okay, I'm thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
The Sovereign should tell Adam that he needs to claim like his rightful place on the throne. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's had enough time as like a soldier in the Guardians. He needs to come back
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know if it should be like he's awful at it and the Sovereign want to get rid of him because he's so bad and he's destroying the planet,
Mm-hmm.
or that he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And like um but also like I don't think this it's interesting because I don't think the Sovereign are like a formidable opponent to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of
Yeah.
ditzy.
You could just do the whole Adam Warlock had to go off on his own thing to do you know.
Yeah. I think if it's just him and then he comes back at the end and he's like, I killed them all.
I killed them all, I did.
His little dancey dance, his little
Yeah. Little dancey dance. So Adam Warlock movie. Do you want to just chuck in your Rocket and Groot project and say that happened in our plan?
sure.
Is it a movie or TV show?
It doesn't destroy any continuity.
Yeah. Is it movie or TV show? Or
Honestly, it could be a movie, but it feels like more of a special presentation
a special presentation, sure.
because there's not much like character growth. It's just
Yeah. Just
an
some,
adventure with Rocket, Groot, and Cosmo.
yeah.
Um,
Cool. I found a list of every person that's ever been a member of the Guardians Galaxy, and I think it's quite interesting
sure.
to go through because most of these aren't going to happen.
Okay. Quickly.
Okay. Yondu, Major
Dead.
Victory, which is like so the original Guardians Galaxy take place in the 30th century, and Major Victory is a astronaut from the modern day. You have Martin X, who is the crystal guy. Charlie 27, who is the head. Starhawk, who is Sylvester Stallone. Nikki, Aletta Ogord, replica Talon. Yellow Jacket, different Yellow Jacket. Not that different though. Gina Drake, Hollywood, the Phoenix, the Spirit of Vengeance. And then you have Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Rocket, Adam Warlock, Phyla-Vell, Groot, Mantis, Major Victory, Jack Flag, Moondragon is someone quite interesting, Cosmo, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Agent Venom, Kitty Pryde, The Thing, Scott Lang, Beta Ray Bill, Ghost Rider when it was the Punisher. When Punisher was Ghost Rider. Star Fox. Star Fox, who's Harry Styles.
Oh.
And then you have Nova Marvel Boy, who's like a young Avenger. Hercules, Super Skrull, Quasar is someone we never got in the films. Hulkling, who's another young Avenger. Wiccan, who's Wanda's son. And then Doctor Doom, apparently.
I think, not saying we should. However, if Nova appeared in a Marvel project,
I was gonna
I
say Nova.
think it should be tied to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think Nova would be a cool, and yeah.
I think we could also get a really interesting dynamic between him and Adam Warlock.
Hmm. I want Quasar as well, but Quasar is very like in a lot of ways, Nova and Adam Warlock. Everyone thought Quasar was okay. Let's write down some options of new members. So we've got
Okay,
who did you just say? My mind's gone blank. Nova.
Nova.
I'd go the young one, Sam something, because you have Richard Rider, who's the original Nova, and then the young one, who I'm sure you'll know best from the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show.
Yeah, I've seen more episodes of that show that I'm proud to admit.
I don't think it's bad.
It's
not
fine. It's not good.
It's not terrible. I wouldn't say it's bad.
It's not bad. I remember watching it and enjoying it, but it's not nearly as much as I enjoyed Spectacular Spider-Man while I was watching it as a child.
Mm-hmm. So we've got Nova. I will put Captain Marvel down as an option because I think that's interesting.
I also think an interesting person would be Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray Bill, as a good weird character to chuck in there.
And also, we know he exists.
Yeah,
he exists in the MCU, and I think also it would be interesting to revisit, the Warrior Planet. What's it called?
Sakaar.
How do you say it? Sakaar.
Sakaar.
I think that's a corner of the MCU that's really interesting that we haven't revisited since Thor Ragnarok. Do we get Jeff Goldblum maybe again?
Oh, you could join the Guardian. No, I think Blue Marvel would be interesting if you want a Captain Marvel-esque character. I don't know if you know much.
I don't know who Blue Marvel is.
He's Black Superman. Sorry, I had to do the Hobson Shaw joke. He's like Superman-esque power level, in space, and everyone thinks he's going to appear in the Marvels.
Okay, wait. Okay, I have an inkling of an idea.
Okay.
You can shoot this down as I immediately say it.
Yeah, okay.
Fantastic Four
I'm shooting it down.
Fantastic Four might take place in the 60s.
Yeah.
But let's say it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say for whatever reason,
I don't think it will. Yeah.
Nihilus comes in. He comes into our atmosphere. Because you said he's like an interdimensional person, right?
Yeah, he's from the negative zone. He's from the place that they go to in Fant4stic.
Okay.
That's his home.
And let's say for whatever reason he goes through the Warrior portal and he is on Sakaar.
Yeah. Oh.
And then the Grandmaster like tries to recruit him because he's a huge, like, formidable opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't work. And Beta Ray Bill is like the only like survivor of that. And the Guardians get alerted from Beta Ray Bill. And then like that's how we get into the movie, and that's how everything's introduced.
Yeah, I'd change it a tiny bit because his whole deal is like he likes to travel from dimension to dimension, like conquering. So I think you could just say he rocks up in Sakaar with his army, and then you can chuck in a Grandmaster scene like that.
Sure, but I think Sakaar would be an interesting place for it to begin.
Yeah. Beta Ray Bill. So you should Blue Marvel. Adam Brashear was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois.
Oh.
He was a child prodigy. He was a veteran of the Korean War. Oh, I did not realize this. Blue Marvel got his powers from the negative zone. There's a connection there.
There is a connection there.
You don't have to use him, but you know.
How would we introduce him? We could just say like Negative Zone was like slightly opened up by the Fantastic Four, and that like similar to a Spider-Man No Way Home, some slip through.
You could put him as like, so let's say he falls through it in some science experiment because he was like helping out or whatever at a military base, and then he was a prisoner of Annihilus.
Yeah, you could do that.
But I don't know if we're okay. I wouldn't, depending like how many extra characters we add. I think I would rather a Nova.
Okay, this is a potential thing we could do.
Mhm.
Somehow, before before Guardians of the Galaxy,
Mhm.
Nova was taken in. Like Nova gained access to the negative zone, but was imprisoned by Nihilus. I think
What?
his name right?
Annihilus,
Annihilus.
I think. You see it get you see it
But
written.
like, I think it would be interesting if Nova was a prisoner through all that time, and then when he gets out and he breaks free, he finds Xandar just like decimated.
Yeah, what I was gonna suggest. So is his name I Richard Rider, I think is the original. Um Richard Rider is the original Nova. And then Sam Alexander, I remember now, is his son who gets the helmet. And I think Sam Alexander would be a more interesting character to explore
Me too.
because he's an Earth guy who gets these powers instead of being he's Star-Lord-esque in the way that like he gets whisked off into space and blah blah blah. Um, so you could do something like, some of the Noverts survived and they became more of a team like the Guardians of the Galaxy when they'd go around and stop intergalactic threats. And that's how they were policing the galaxy. And then Richard Rider died trying to protect Sakaar. And that's when the helmet is delivered to Sam Alexander.
Yeah.
Because it is just like they're just Green Lanterns.
Oh man. Wouldn't it be interesting if it was like Star-Lord teaching Sam? Or like something like that? Or do you think like Sam Alexander gets his helmet and then just glides off?
I I think maybe the Guardians find him because they're like, oh, the only thing that left there was only one signal that left Sakaar and it went to Earth.
Mm.
And they go to Earth and Sam Alexander's there. And maybe
Okay.
I think a scene with Star-Lord on Earth would be cool, but I would rather Star-Lord stay on Earth.
Right.
So should we write down who the team is? So you have Rocket, so Beta Ray Bill, Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, Nova, Cosmo. Are we doing Phyla-Vell and Kraglin? That's quite a big team.
Well, the only reason is like if we want to scrap some Guardians, there needs to be a reason why. You know what I mean? Like we can't just like they can't just not. I feel like if the Guardians is good with one thing in spectacular is not leaving like any loose ends.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it'd be easy enough to explain away Kraglin, but I do like Kraglin. Could you not explain where Phyla-Vell is or whoever we're getting rid of in like the Adam Warlock movie or the Rocket and Groot special presentation?
Um,
I don't know.
we could have it be like
But is that who we want to get rid of? Or are we just introducing too many characters? So that's Beta Ray Bill, Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, Nova, Cosmo, Phyla-Vell, which is the size of the Guardians team in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 ish, depending who you count.
I don't think how you would
I don't
leave
think
behind.
7 is too many necessarily. Especially when like one of them's Cosmo and one of them's Groot. And as much as people love those characters, there's not a lot you do with
Yeah,
them.
and like Blurp too. Are you counting
I'm not
Blurp? Oh, okay.
Blurps,
I think what we have right now is fine.
Okay, cool. So okay, so what okay, here's a question. When asked about volume 4, sorry, James Gunn said the very sensible thing that he'd be up for it happening as long as someone doesn't try and copy his style. So, is there a director you can think of, or like a certain way to approach this film that you'd be like, that would be interesting?
It's interesting because, like, how do you make a Guardians with a completely different vibe?
Exactly. I mean, I don't think, yeah, I don't think it has to be a completely different vibe. I think it just has to be a different kind of style. Like you cut down on music and you, I don't know. Like if it was in, let's say he wasn't a part of the MCU, if you did it in a Taika Waititi style, I think that would be fine. Like I don't
Yeah,
think
but
that.
also I feel like Taika Waititi. I don't know. I don't think he should make any more Marvel movies.
No, that I would. That I didn't. I was just saying something like him.
No, yeah, I agree.
That kind of jump is like a reasonable one to make with these films because they're in the same kind of realm of comedy and you know.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Let's just go with like a Taika Waititi-esque vibe for
Yeah,
now. Um, but not Taika Waititi.
sure. Have you gone off Taika Waititi that much?
Yeah, like I don't know. He just kind of rubs me the wrong way with Marvel now.
Why is that?
Well, his Thor: Love and Thunder was not good, and
Yeah,
also,
but
and
the
also just like
is
the
like,
way he talks about Marvel and all that. He just
yeah,
seems it's relatively dismissive,
yeah.
and like that
But
might just
that,
be him being silly.
that, that is how he speaks about everything, though.
That's true.
He doesn't take anything seriously.
No, he does not. Well, he also does though. He takes things
No,
like in his movies at least, like even
I
Thor
just mean
Ragnarok.
in interviews, he doesn't take anything seriously.
Right.
That's what I meant. Like I've never.
Um. So I think so looking at like the outline of our movie, the Guardians get a distress call from Sakaar, and I think it'd be interesting if Rocket's like, we shouldn't go there. That place is very hard to get in and out of. It's risky. And then maybe one of the Guardians says like, no, we should check it out. And so they do. And then
So
Beta Ray Bill's there.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think for a film like Guardians, I think you kind of need to figure out what is like behind each character, and the character that the couple I want to the one I want to talk about most to like figure out, and then we can build off that is Phyla Vell and what her
Okay.
whole deal is, and like let's say she's like 15 or whatever in this film.
Right.
You could even say her species grow up fast because they're artificial, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with this character? Like, what would their purpose within the film be? Like, you could say they're like the mantis of the team, and they're like the like the like the moral compass and the like the levity and the optimism, or you know,
Was Phyla Vell made by the High Evolutionary?
I think so.
Okay. I
That's
think it would be interesting if, once again, like she was looking for a sense of belonging or
mm,
like a sense of purpose because her purpose was like a test for the High Evolutionary. I think would be interesting.
yeah. I think it'd be
And
cool if she, you know, acted out a bit.
I think the entire movie, like the general theme should be to like finding purpose.
Yeah, sure.
And I think like that'll also kind of be like a main criticism of the movie leading up to it is like this shouldn't exist. Like what's the purpose of this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like all the Guardians have like a general theme, I think more than any MCU movies. So I
More
think
apparent
having
themes.
what?
More apparent themes.
Yeah, more apparent themes. Um
I think yeah, I think she would be quite interesting as like a quote unquote moody teenager.
yeah, I think
And
she should be. And like rash. Like
Yeah.
she should make decisions that.
And also she's like very powerful, I think.
Yeah, I mean
And
she's Captain Marvel, powerful. So
yeah, maybe tone it down a bit in this, but that's kind of the general idea.
um
Adam Warlock. I mean, yeah, he's had a movie about going up against Sovereign. So how is he different here? In the comics, he's a lot more of like a noble guy who believes like,
I think out of anybody he should take somewhat of like a parental role over Val.
yeah, what if he's like the Mantis and he's like the moral compass and the optimism, or not like he's Mantis in the way that Mantis is like, oh, you should be nice to people and you shouldn't say this about this person and we all love each other and like very optimistic about stuff. I think that would be an interesting way to move with his character.
I think the most interesting thing is he should be that role, but he should also like be knowing that he should be that role and he's not great
Yeah.
at it. Like sometimes he says stuff that like is just like the entire team like looks at him like he's crazy
Yeah.
because he said something that turned out like very dark or something. I think that'd be funny.
Yeah. I don't think we need to write anything for Groot or Cosmo, you know, because
Comedic relief.
yeah, and like I think we're still doing King Groot.
Yeah, because that's sick.
Oh, it is sick, isn't it? Why do they? Oh, that we have to see King Groot at some point. And then Nova, I think, is the audience insert.
Yeah,
Like he's the guy from Earth, and I think if like seeing the story from his point of view would be quite interesting because unlike the original Guardians Galaxy team, with these people are already a team with each other and like they know each other and they've had adventures together. So I think having Nova and I guess Beta Ray Bill come in.
I don't think Beta Ray Bill should be like there for the entire movie though.
Yeah.
There for the first. I don't think he should leave Sakaar, or he should leave Sakaar and then like almost immediately die.
Okay, what if? So the Guardians come to the distress signal at Sakaar, and they hear it. They see something about this signal going to Earth, and Rocket is immediately like, "Oh, maybe that has something to do with
Quill.
Quill." I realize we haven't put Kraglin down on this list. I think we can explain Kraglin away quite easily.
Yeah, they do in every movie.
Yeah, just he's gone to nowhere. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so that the Guardians go to Earth and Beta Ray Bill stays in Sakaar, and then at the end of the film when they're fighting Annihilus, he shows up in the third act and helps them out, and then at the end of the film he joins the Guardians.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's kind of like is he more of like a Drax? Like I think he's a strong brush type, and he's like the straight man in comedy.
Yeah, I think you should be like because he's also been a gladiator for what like 7 years or something. Like, I think the only thing he knows is hurting people.
Yeah,
but like totally like a comedic sense.
Yeah, and then you can have Rocket like trying to reach out to him, but like he's like, oh, I don't need family, you know.
And I think it'd be kind of funny if Adam Warlock despises Beta Ray Bill. Because they do have, if that's a sense of Beta Ray Bill, is like he wants to destroy everything, and Adam Warlock wants to like be kind and noble towards everything, but he's neither of which are like great at it. You know, like neither are emotionally mature.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting.
Sure, yeah. So what's Rocket's role here?
Rocket's role, I think
he should have the conflict with Phyla-Vell as like the parental figure because he's the one that went through everything with the High Evolutionary and he's the leader of the team.
Right. I think that you play with him learning how to be a leader.
Yeah, and like learning to be a father figure.
Right. I think that'd be the most interesting way because he's not good. Like he's wasn't a captain, but now he is, and he has to learn how to play that role.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you. Okay, that's everyone. Now we've figured this stuff out.
Okay.
We can get into the nitty gritty.
So Annihilus goes into Sakaar.
Yeah.
Kills Chef Goldblum.
What? Yeah, post-credit scene, he survives.
Okay, sure. I'm not opposed to that.
You just do a stupid one again. Like in Thor Ragnarok when he's like, yeah, I he's what does he say? There's a good joke then. It's like, is it about a truce or
I
a
don't
draw?
remember.
He's like, let's call this one a draw. Let's all pack up for today.
God, I love that man. Okay. Um,
Annihilus enters the car, wrecks the place, destroys
but
it.
why does he leave?
I will know because he like I think he didn't come to this universe, this galaxy to take over Sakaar. He came to this galaxy to take over the important places, and like the Sakarians just get in his way, and obviously that's where you exit the negative zone.
Where does he go?
Good. What if he just? I think he disappears for a bit to like study and figure out the world he's landed in.
Oh man. Does he go to Earth? The only reason I say why does he go to Earth is because there is an entire baby celestial underwater.
But if he's going to Earth, you can't not include
I know.
others, and
So like,
yeah.
where else does he go? I think he should go to a place where there is a lot of power.
But there's Xandar's been destroyed, and that's like the only place, unless he goes to like the Kree homeworld or something like that.
Pre-homeworld.
What's that called?
Devilier.
Yeah, but that's
Titan.
not interesting, is it? That's just like, who cares if he destroys that? That's just one dude.
Yeah. Um. He could go.
There's no canon plot other planets really that were
There's the
interesting.
one where Yondu was drinking on.
Yeah, but who cares about the planet of space prostitutes? You know,
That's true.
I would.
We could make
I
a new planet.
yeah, I'd be like, the Coruscant of the galaxy.
Um.
What is the
We need to
creature?
tie. We should tie it to some other one of the creatures. Maybe where Kraglin's from.
I think like, yeah, but then why is he not in the?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
I
like
didn't like that sentence.
I think maybe I think Kree home planet. What's it? What's the Kree home planet?
But don't we dislike the Kree?
I think, yeah, but we're going to end up not disliking them because at the moment we like the Skrulls and we dislike the crew, but then I think the whole point of Captain Marvel was that, oh, you can't judge this entire race by, and I think that's also true. And also they're the guardians of the galaxy. Like, I think like Annihilus's goal is to take over the galaxy, and maybe what if he's going after a MacGuffin to help him do that?
That's true.
So maybe we can say that. What could a MacGuffin be? Like, because you can't obviously do an Infinity
Okay.
Stone. Destroyed.
Or whatever. Could he go to the God planet?
The God planet. Oh, don't bring Omnipotent City into this.
I know, I'm sorry.
Don't.
That wasn't very nice of me.
I
don't know what other like
I don't think we need to
MacGuffins
say
are
something.
there.
We just say if we think of a MacGuffin and then we say this is on this planet or whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna Google Marvel comics MacGuffins. There's the Great Nullifier, but that's like something on Earth. You could do. I mean, okay. So let's just think about the characters before we get back to.
Maybe one planet can sort of have a connection to the negative zone, and if he gains access to that connection, he can transport the entire world into the negative zone and rule it there.
Let me have a look. Yeah, I've got a list of Marvel cosmic weapons.
All right. Are there any tied to the negative zone?
You got I don't know. You got Phyla-Vel's sword, actually. The ultimate nullifier. Thunderstrike. The Tesseract. The Phoenix Blade. The Infinity Gauntlet. The Cosmic Ghost Rider. The Heart of the Universe.
What was that?
During Marvel the End, Thanos absorbs all of the Heart's power. In doing so, he does not merely attain ultimate power. Instead, the Mad Titan becomes one with everyone and everything. There is literally no way to stop him. Realizing the only way to save the universe would be destroy and then rebuild it. Thanos does as much, reshaping reality exactly as it was.
So where is this Heart of the Universe? Could we make it on the Kree Island? Or the Kree planet?
Is okay, but is that not exactly the same as the thing in Thor: Love and Thunder that's at the heart of the universe, the Eternity Wish?
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think maybe he just. What if it is something Eternalsy?
How do you mean?
I don't know. That's all I've got. Yeah, you can do that. There's always the Necro Sword that was in Thor: Love and Thunder, to be fair.
Eternals? Is that what you said? That too.
Yeah, sorry, something Eternals.
But that's for killing God, though. Right?
Then no, that's in the MCU now.
Do you think like he should?
The Necro Sword is Null Sword. It's like the symbiote weapon.
Oh, right. Do you think like if he gets to a celestial, he's able to achieve like, or a dead one?
Yeah. What if he's just after? I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is what I mean. Like, we're focusing on the wrong thing here. The whole idea of a MacGuffin is just a dumb thing that you slot in to make the plot of the film make sense. So let's just say for now, Annihilus enters the car, wrecks it. Beta Ray Bill is the only one that survives.
Yeah.
And then Annihilus goes somewhere, and then throughout the film we can flick back to him while we figure out what he does. So should we say there is a small group of Nova Corps, including John C. Reilly and Richard Rider. Just because I like John C. Reilly in the first film.
Yes.
And they're doing it.
John C. Reilly has not done a bad movie. Hot take.
Holmes and Watson, you freaking fool.
Hey, you own that movie on Blu-ray. You like it. Don't lie to me.
I didn't spend money on that. Who did? Oh wait, you. Okay. There's a small group of Nova Corps, including John C. Reilly and Richard Rider, and they're like Guardians, and they're Guardians Galaxy CS because Xandar is destroyed.
Right. And then they die trying to protect Sakaar, or
they all die trying to stop an Annihilus.
Okay.
Richard Rider, before he dies, puts power into his helmet, and it flies away. And then you can say that so the Guardians show up, and like Annihilus has just disappeared. No one knows where he has gone. And the only thing they could see that left nowhere of Sakaar is they've got a small signal that flew to Earth.
Yeah. And so then they go to that. They get brunch with Quill.
Yeah. Go to Earth, meet Sam Alexander. I'm going to check his name, Sam Alexander, because I've been saying that so confidently. And I actually don't know if it's true. And people, if they care, will be yelling at me. Yeah, I was right. They go to Earth, meet Sam, who has found Helmet, and he's freaking out.
I do think it would be interesting. Okay, I've been trying to think like, how do you factor Quill into this story? He isn't a big central plot. He's just there. I think when they go and see Sam Alexander, Quill's just there, and we
What if?
find that.
So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Two options I've thought of. Number one, the second they find out something's on Earth, Rocket gives Quill a little call and he's like, "Can you go track this guy down for us? And we'll meet you there in a half a day or whatever."
Uh-huh.
Option number two, he's tracking, and I think that could work well if someone's like, "Oh, but we're not going to get there quickly enough." And then Rocket says a line of something like, "Don't worry, I've got a man nearby," and then we cut to like Peter Quill just like arriving where Nova is, and that's a fun little reveal. Or you can be like, "Oh, Star-Lord is tracking this stuff from outer space, and he's got some space equipment set up in the garage, and he like gets."
I think Quill should just like, he has no like inkling to want to go back to the Guardians,
Yeah,
but he is like a little bored, so he does have that. And when he sees that crash in the upper atmosphere, I don't know where Sam Alexander resides in the U.S., but I think it should be like closer to him,
yeah.
and he's able to track it, and then he finds it. So then when the Guardians show up to see Sam, Quill's just kind of there eating breakfast with him or something.
Yeah, so because obviously they don't know what's flown off to Earth,
Right.
you could say they're expecting to find the like Annihilus and a bunch of villains or whatever. So like they all burst into this house, like Adam Warlock like crashes through the ceiling and destroys it. And like they're all there with their guns up shouting, and then like Peter Quill is just sitting there and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
Yeah, that was my idea that I had
Yeah.
before you interrupted me.
Yeah, and they like smash the place up.
Yeah. That'd be silly. But I don't think it would make sense for Rocket to be like, I have a guy there, because that means they're keeping in contact, and that's
Yeah.
not what they're supposed to do. So, okay.
And then Peter can be like, "I've been training him, has been helping him."
Right.
Okay, the film I've just thought about this. The film has to open up with like a flashback of Sam being like, I think Sam being left from his dad's point of view.
And I think that should be at the destruction of Xandar. Well,
so I think, what if Sam Alex like he's just a guy from Earth who's like somehow joined the Nova Corps and he's like, "I need to go because I've got like a higher purpose." And then it cuts to like him flying through space towards a car, and it's like 15 years later or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then where do we? So after Nova is introduced, what do we do?
Okay, so Nova's introduced, and they're like, "Oh, this was a big waste of time." And then they get another signal, and they're like, "Annihilus has reappeared over this planet or whatever." Um, over this planet, and they're like, "Okay, we're leaving. Bye." And then Nova insists on coming with them because he's like, "This guy like killed my dad, and he's a threat, and I can help." And then Rocket's like, "No, you can't help. You haven't figured out what you're doing yet. Stay with Quill."
I think it'd almost be a little bit more interesting if Rocket's not in that conversation and it's him and Quill.
What if this was what I was about to say? What if Rocket's like the one being like, "You're not ready. You're going to stay here," and then Quill takes Rocket aside and he's like, "You got to trust this guy. Like I can see talent. Blah blah blah." And they have like a fun little back and forth about it. And then Rocket's like, "Oh, if you're wrong about this, and he dies, it's on you."
Well, if anything, maybe Rocket takes Quill aside and he's like, "You need to come with us. We can't do that. Like, we need your help."
Yeah.
And then Quill's like, "No, we can't. I
like,
said I'm not coming back." But
like,
this
I'm
guy,
not a leader. Yeah.
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 Or that would be really interesting if, because Rocket he's having trouble becoming a leader, and he's like, "I need a leader for this."
Yeah.
And
Star-Lord refuses and says, "Take Nova," which he isn't like, Rocket isn't happy about.
yeah.
And then Star-Lord says like he's a lost kid.
Mm-hmm. That'd be sweet.
So then they go to space to wherever Annihilus is. Now this is when we figure this bit out.
Yeah.
Annihilus is, I think you do, because when you think about it, that MacGuffin at the end of uh at the end of Love and Thunder is really dumb, and like I don't have an issue with that within the film, you know,
Did he
massively.
don't have an issue with it?
It's not one of my, like I wouldn't put it in my top 5 issues with the film.
That's true. I
Like
don't like it
if
though.
if that was in a better film, you wouldn't care. I
That's
like
true.
I is would be my argument. And you could do, I don't know.
I don't know enough about Annihilus' powers and the negative zone.
And yeah, the negative zone is kind of just, what if that is what he, yeah, what if like, I'm trying to think, is there any like space scientists other than the High Evolutionary that could have been working on like negative zone stuff, and he has to go after him?
Well, I don't know.
People. Someone's going to come to me in a second. But like, let's just say there's a scientist somewhere in this like Coruscant-esque planet.
Yeah, let's just say there's, wait, let's see, big
So where? So
Marvel.
a sign. So what if like Annihilus had gathered enough information on this universe while he was attacking Sakaar, and he just retreated back into the negative zone for a little bit to figure stuff out, and that's why the Guardians couldn't track him.
Sure. Um, I'm not getting any. There's high evolutionary, but that just makes sense.
Yeah, evolutionary. You could do the medium evolutionary. Yeah.
So yeah, let's just say on this Coruscant planet, there's a super smart guy that is proficient in the negative zone.
Yeah, who's been already been doing stuff on it.
Yeah, and
If you wanted to do something interesting, you could say like, you could chuck in like, you could do, it's Arnim Zola was shot into space, or Modoc, or I don't know, whoever. But I guess you want a good guy, not someone who's like there against their will.
yeah, and I think this scientist, like Annihilus, wants to use a negative zone, but he can't get access to it without the scientist. And when he has access to the negative zone, that means like the end of the galaxy, sort of a thing.
Yeah, like when he has access to it, he can bring through his entire army, like you said.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, I like that. I think that'll work.
Annihilus attacks the planet, and the Guardians appear. They have like I think they have a face off with Annihilus, which they lose, and he gets away with the scientist.
I think, yeah, and I think the final battle should be the Annihilus gains access to the negative zone, and the Guardians have to fight Annihilus, and as his soldiers are slowly coming through.
I think there's, yeah, I think the what first thing I imagined was that he gets the scientist and his entire army reappears, and they're like, we need to go to his base in the negative zone and like pull them all back through or something like that.
Well, what do you mean pull them all back through?
Like, you got to teleport them all back through the big portal.
Who's them all though? His army?
And not his army. And then you can do a whole thing of, oh no, Rocket is going to get trapped in the negative zone. Oh, don't worry, he escaped at the last minute. Or maybe he does die.
Oh, okay. So like, so let's get back for a second. So when he gains access to the scientists, they bring them all into the negative zone.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Wait, what? Sorry, say that again.
So like, wait. I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah,
So the army, so Annihilus gets the scientists, brings the army he gets his army out of the negative zone,
yeah.
and then what happens?
And then the Guardians have to go into the negative zone to like deactivate it and make them all reappear in the negative zone.
Oh, okay.
Was my argument. Just because I think you get the more tension if they're like, oh no, we lost his like intergalactic army is here.
And I think Rocket Raccoon is about to be stuck in the negative zone, but Phyla-Vell is able to use her powers to keep it on for a little bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can get through, kind of making like a bond between the two of them.
Yeah.
And Rocket kind of his arc is satisfied because he did like a self-sacrifice thing, proving himself to be a leader and like,
Yeah.
the captain. And then Phyla-Vell get her arc of like purpose is like, oh, protecting her family. And
But I think you need a little bit in between the Annihilus stealing the scientists and the Guardians reappearing. Sorry, and the army reappearing. Like I think you need a bit in between there.
I think what you would do is they seem very lost, and then one of them's like, what if we can like put them all back? Like that's like they all feel a sense of
before
defeat.
his army reappear, like before his army appears.
Oh, okay.
Like
Um,
I don't think you go straight from the Coruscant-esque scene to that action set piece to the next one. I think you need something in the middle. What if something to do with Beta Ray Bill?
a lot. Uh, I'm not sure what we would put in between there.
What if like that is when Beta Ray Bill shows up and they will have their big argument? It's like if you think about the first Guardians film, they have the scene on Nowhere. There's the massive action scene there, and then that action scene ends with them having lost the Power Stone. And it's like, oh no, we've lost everything because we've lost the MacGuffin, and then you have the scene of like Star-Lord and Gamora being kidnapped by the Ravagers, and then Drax and Rocket saving them, and then you get them making up the plan of what to do, and then they go and do the plan. And I think you have that gap in between the two action scenes, which is like something. And I like maybe that's when Beta Ray Bill comes in, or okay, what if you chuck the Ravagers in there?
Yeah, we could do um maybe the original Nova owed something to the Ravagers, and then they recognize Nova's energy signature pop back up on the charts, and so that's why they go after the Guardians.
Yeah, I mean yeah, or you could just say like I don't know, Rocket. That they could be friends with Rocket.
Yeah, but I also I think the Ravagers should still be like like secondary antagonist. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I mean they're not in number 3,
there for a second.
but they're not. You wouldn't
Yeah,
go who's the secondary antagonist in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I don't think you'd ever say the Ravagers.
no, that's true.
I mean, I'd say Adam Warlock.
Um, I don't know what you do for them then.
Uh, um, like what if Beta Ray Bill arrives and he's angry that they've lost, and he's like, "We're gonna need an army to do this, and we've just got a group of children and farm animals, or something like that." And then Rocket's like, "I think I can appeal to the Ravagers," and that's where we see him being a leader, and he shows up there, and the Ravagers like Sylvester Stallone's like, "We're not helping you." And then that's when Rocket gives his big speech, like Star-Lord has his speech in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And then it's like the galaxy is about to be destroyed, and do you want to be remembered as a group of thieves and whatever, or do you want to be remembered as guardians of the galaxy?
Yeah,
And then Sylvester Stallone can make a little joke about how he was in the original Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics. He's like, I like the sound of that, because I think that's how you redeem. Yeah, Rocket.
Sorry, my brother walked in.
It's all right.
Yeah, I like that idea. And then the Ravagers and the Guardians go up against
Like
the
the end
army.
of number one, where like they have all those ships.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rocket recruits the Ravagers, and then Annihilus wins and his army appears, and it's like because like it is a galaxy destroying army, it is like millions of soldiers or whatever, and the Ravagers just look tiny in front of it, but they have a plan, and they just like, and the Ravagers, I don't know, distract Annihilus or something like that, while the Guardians slip into the negative zone.
Yeah. Should Gamora die here?
Is she in? Is she here? Was I was going to say. I don't.
Yes, she should be there.
And you could say something like Gamora backs up Rocket, and like she's kind of helps convince Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like she's like, from my experience, doing a little good. Yeah, I don't know. She can, you know.
Yeah, I backs up Rocket eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they are somehow able to use a negative zone to bring them back.
Yeah.
And then that's the end of the movie?
Is any Guardian dying?
I don't think we don't like there's no need. I mean, maybe Gamora dies.
I don't like the idea of Gamora dying in a film that she doesn't play much of a part in.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Could kill off Cosmo.
No.
No.
I love Cosmo.
That's kind of that's a good reason to kill off a character.
No, it is a good reason to kill off a character, but not like we have this movie doesn't focus on Cosmo.
That's true. Okay, cool. I think I've got everything written down. I think.
All right,
Pause
and come back.
Any end credit scene ideas?
What
if blue? I think what if you go Blue Marvel falls through like the portal and he's like escaped the negative zone.
Yes, and I also think just like a scene with Nova, Phyla-Vell, and Adam Warlock just like competing with their powers would be kind of fun because they all have a similar power.
I was about to say like Nova hanging out with Star-Lord.
Oh yeah, then no, that'd be cool too.
And like them just I don't know what something like they're just watching cartoons together, or like they're watching I don't know some like 70s cartoon which Star-Lord loves, and then Nova's like, really?
Or just like Footloose. You're watching Footloose.
Yeah,
they're like, you saved the world by doing this.
Star-Lord's like, oh, he's a personal friend of mine. Even you could even put Kevin Bacon in there.
That would be funny.
Okay, I think I've got everything already written down.
So. All right, let's do it.
Cool. So before we even get, sorry. One last question. This is an important question. I wouldn't want to call this film Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 4.
What do you want to call it?
I don't know.
Oh.
Would you think though? Like,
I don't have a better name for it. Is the issue?
Guardians of the Galaxy. I was about to say Reborn, but that's the name of the Daredevil TV show, isn't it?
Maybe Guardians of the Galaxy Chapter 2.
I was gonna say Guardians. Yeah, but I think that's a bit confusing. What about the Guardians of the Galaxy Strike Again, and you do something a bit like 80s like that?
I don't know, like
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I do like how like it goes through like the same volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and like this should be renamed to something that was like I don't know.
Yeah, you could always
it could be like
you could do like Guardians Galaxy and the Negative Zone, or
it could just be called the Guardians of the Galaxy.
What about Guardians Galaxy Annihilation? Because that's what every comic book with Annihilus has been called ever.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess.
Sure. Do you agree about it shouldn't be called Volume 4 though?
I don't know. I like how simple, like they're all just Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3.
Yeah, but you know that works for them.
You know what? I think no, I agree. Because if it's volume 4, I think that kind of takes what James Gunn said and spits in his face a little bit.
Yeah.
They're just trying to do the same thing. So I do think if they stray away from that titling sequence, it would work. So I agree. Let's do Annihilation. I came around.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Okay. Here's the plot of the film. So the film opens up with Sam Alexander being left by his dad. Sam Alexander just lives in like a rural part of Earth, and he's a young kid, and we see it from his dad's point of view as he leaves to go join the Nova Corps because he's like, I've got a higher purpose. I need to go protect the galaxy. And like Sam knows where his dad is, and like he knows his dad's in space, but he's always like had a bit like always. What's the word I'm looking for? Like he's never been a big fan of his because like, oh, he left me, blah blah blah. And then
Resentment.
resented him. And then we see 15 years later, and it's this Nova Corps because Xandar's been destroyed. They're acting a bit like Guardians of the Galaxies, and they're just traveling around in a few ships, like just stopping these like helping people out intergalactically. Now they don't have a planet, and they see Annihilus enter Sakaar, and they arrive there, and Annihilus just destroys the place, almost kills the Grandmaster, blah blah blah. And Beta Ray Bill is the main guy. Beta Ray Bill and the Novas like charge the Annihilus's army, and they all lose, and Beta Ray Bill is the only survivor. And just before the Nova Corps die, we also get John C. Reilly here, but Richard Rider sends off his helmet, and it just flies off into nowhere, and then Annihilus's army just disappears. And the Guardians of the Galaxy get this distress signal, and they appear on Sakaar, and Beta Ray Bill is there, and he's angry. And like Rocket offers for them to join them, but he's like, I don't need a family, I just need the destruction of Annihilus or whatever. And the Guardians find this one signal that left Sakaar, and it went to Earth, and they flew off to Earth. And they're expecting like a big fight, and they're expecting to like for this to be the threat that just destroyed Sakaar. So they like break into the house he's in, that this thing is in, and it's just like Sam Alexander, Nova, and Star-Lord sitting there eating and talking, and Star-Lord's like, whoa, what's going on here? And we basically get the explanation that like the helmet has gone back to the next in line for it, and Star-Lord has been trying to help Nova learn his powers, and Rocket like pulls Star-Lord. Like he has like, I think you could do a good joke about him being like, oh yeah, I can't be bothered to see you again. You're just going to get in our way, blah blah blah, in front of the team. And then he gets Star-Lord to the side. He's like, can you come and join us and like and lead us for this one? I don't have it in me to like stop this threat. And then Star-Lord gives him a bit of a pep talk, and he's like, I can't come. I'm staying here, but take the kid. He's got promise. And Rocket's like, I can't take another kid, blah blah blah. Like Phyla-Vell is too much because she's quite moody and rash, and just like, and she's very powerful, so like it comes out quite a bit. And eventually Star-Lord convinces him to take Nova. So they take Nova, and they find out that Annihilus has appeared over like a Coruscant-esque planet, and his goal is to kidnap this scientist who has been doing work on the negative zone. And the Guardians appear. They like manage to get onto Annihilus's ship, and they have a face-off with him. And that's like the thing in Guardians Galaxy 3, face-off. This isn't a trap, it's a face-off.
It's wonderful that face-off joke had a full circle moment.
Yeah. I think Guardians Galaxy Face-Off is a pretty cool movie name. But
that is a cool movie name.
Anyway, so they have a face-off with Annihilus, and Annihilus basically beats them up quite easily. And it's just like, I think it would be cool because like he's a ruthless warlord. He's like Ronan times a million. And like as he's like beating up the Guardians, he basically just talks through all their flaws. And he's like, oh, Rocket, you're so small, but you've got such boldness that's hiding that you don't know what you're doing. And oh, Phyla-Vell, you've got all this power, but you don't know how to use it. And he's like, and then he goes, Nova, the last of your race, the last of your kind, the last with this weapon, entrusted upon a boy who doesn't know what he's doing. And I think that, you know, he destroys their self-esteem a little bit. And then Linus escapes, and that's when Beta Ray Bill reappears, like wanting to fight. Annihilus, but he showed up a bit too late, and he's angry with the Guardians. He's like, "You had him, you let him get away. He's now going to get his entire army through, and there's nothing we can do. Like, we need an army, and you've ruined it." And then Rocket goes, "I have an idea." And then what if we say something like they purposely get themselves trapped by the Ravagers just to like extend the scene a little bit and have a bit of levity and a bit of fun with that, or something along those lines, is they rather than them just rocking up to the Ravagers. And then
I think it would be funny if there was a callback to Rocket being like, I only have 12% of a plan.
yeah, that too. I think it'll be fun just to like they're like, how do we get the Ravagers' attention, and they like get themselves captured or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he comes back, and then he's like, "You have to come and help us." And the Ravager's like, "We're not helping you." And he's like, "There was once a Ravager called Yondu who you all spit in the face of and disregarded him, and he helped us save the entire galaxy. You guys have the same option here. Are you going to stand up and help?" And they're like a bit unsure. And then Gamora, who's there, sticks up. And at this point, Gamora's like the second in command. And Gamora sticks up for Rocket. And she's like, sometimes it helps to do a little good in the world, because she kind of learned that in Volume 3. And then so they all agree to help. And then Sylvester Stallone's like, "All right, Captain, what's your plan?" And he's like, "I've got 12% of a plan." And then we just hear, "I am Groot." He's like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
So then
well, that would make sense. Sorry.
No,
that wouldn't make, because Groot wasn't there when the 12%.
That's a good point. But I think it's a joke that would work.
Yeah. After that, I'd say shut up to myself.
Yeah. But no, yeah, but also that you could always make, "Oh, you don't know what Groot's saying. He just said, 'I am Groot,' you know." Groot could, I think it'd be funny if this Groot is, "That's barely a plan." And you're like,
that would be really funny.
Yeah. And he's like, "It's barely a plan." And then I think it'll be a cool moment for Adam Warlock to like encourage people along here as well, and like stick up for Rocket when they've been arguing a little bit back and forth throughout the film. And they go off to this corner of the galaxy, and Annihilus's army appears, and it's like just millions of soldiers, and it is like it would destroy the galaxy pretty easily. And the Ravagers distract him and like fly around and like hit weak spots and like get around him in their like faster ships, while just this entire like Titan is moving towards them. And while they're doing that, the Guardians of the Galaxy slip behind, go into the negative zone, and find this base. And I think you could do some really cool stuff. You could do some really cool artistic stuff with the negative zone that they could have done with Quantum Mania. Kind of like the Shadow Realm in Thor: Love and Thunder, because stylistically that works.
Yeah. I rewatched Love and Thunder, and that is probably the coolest part of the movie.
Like, it works stylistically. And like as a scene, it's fine, but stylistically, it's really cool. So you can do some cool stuff in the negative like that. And I think you could do the thing like you have in Spider-Verse, when they like argue over who's going to be the one to stay here and close the rift. And they're all like, "Oh, it should be me, blah blah blah." And Rocket's, "I'm the one in charge here. I'm your captain. You guys are going to go back." And then all the team go back, and he presses the button. But then Phyla-Vell, over the course of the film, who's been like growing closer to Rocket, and Rocket's been struggling to be her father figure, she flies back through the portal, saves him, and flies back out.
Well, also, I don't think Phyla-Vell, like, I think like they're both sort of like, I think their relationship should be more of like trying to get like two of the same charge to like connect, and they're just like constantly pushing apart from each other.
Yeah.
And this should be like the moment where they switch. Like,
yeah. And I think you could do that, something like where she comes back and Rocket's like, "Can you not for once just listen to what I say?" And then she can be like, "Not when it's not when it's about losing you." And I think you can do some cool stuff with Beta Ray Bill here as well, where he sees this sacrifice and maybe he keeps the portal open for a second longer using his power. And then by the end of the film, he joins the team, Nova joins the team, and that's the end of the film. Annihilus is trapped in the negative zone.
Yeah.
And then 3 end credit scenes, because we forgot about one, is okay, no, here's the end credit scene. Here's my pitch. Blue Marvel crash lands on this planet somewhere, like a portal to the negative zone opens up and he falls out. And then he looks up and like the Grandmaster is sitting there. And the Grandmaster makes a little joke about how he survived the attack and something like that. Because
I
I
like
think
that.
that would just be dumb and silly. And then the second um, end credit scene is about Nova on Earth watching these cartoons or something like that.
Okay.
And that is our film, which I'm actually very happy with.
We did pretty good, I
I'm
think.
actually really happy with that. I think that's one of our better sequelifies.
Look at us.
Look at us.
I think with that, I am now like unopposed to a Guardians 4.
Yeah.
Like if this movie was made, I'd be very content with that.
Yeah, because it it supports it not only like I think there's two options. The three options. The three options are you ignore what came before, do something completely new. Which isn't the worst option out of the three, in my opinion. Second option is you try to replicate what came before, which I think is my least favorite of the options. And then I think your third option is you build upon what came before and you try something different from that.
Yeah.
I think they're the three options, and I think the third one is the best way to do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's everything.
Oh wait, what should Beta Ray Bill sound like?
You got me by the balls, Nihilus.
Perfect. What are we doing next week?
Oh, give me some time to think. You walked into that one.
No, you almost didn't get me. But like as soon as I saw this movement, you went into your thinking position.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know what he's gonna say.
Yeah, maybe I need to maybe I'll work on that for next week. Episode 99.
This is the boys.
I think it's crazy we've done this 100 times almost.
Nope.
No, we have.
That feels about right.
Actually, we have done this 100 times if you count episode 0 and the episode that was never released.
That's true.
We've done this 100 times. So well done, Harlan.
Wow, look at us.
I should say after episode 100, we will be ending the podcast there, and I will never talk to Harlan ever again.
Yep. Them's the rules.
Them's the rules. You get into triple digits, you're done. I was trying to think of something that rhymed there, but anyway.
Yeah, I could tell you just gave up so hard with that.
I've done a lot of thinking today, and that's all the thinking I'm ever going to do in my life again. Adios, everyone. Okay, do you want to? Can we split, for episode 100? Can we split it in half and figure out who said it more?
Sure.
Let's talk about this in a second. Thank you for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week for The Boys Season 1 recap. Bye.